Despite their spirited attempts to chase after Tsuruta, the members of Super Generation Army found themselves devoid of much gold during their war. Yes, Misawa got the upset victory the year before, but as we've seen in 1991, he's failed to win the Champion Carnival and fell in his attempt to challenge for Jumbo's Triple Crown. But maybe teamwork can make the dream work. Perhaps the pairing of Mitsuharu Misawa and Dangerous K Toshiaki Kawada can bring home the World Tag Team Gold where Misawa's solo attempts have failed him. As the Gaijin dominated the Triple Crown title scene in 1990, so too did they dominate the tag title scene in 1991. The Miracle Violence connection of Steve Williams and Terry Gordy closed out 1990 by winning the Real World Tag League, and with it, the vacant World Tag Team Championship. Their first title defense of the year would pit them against none other than the hottest tag team on the roster, Super Generation Army's Mitsuharu Misawa and Toshiaki Kawada. In many ways, Super Generation Army's attempts to win the tag gold from the Miracle Violence connection made for a fun side quest from their main rivalry against Tsuruta. It also helped to further the long tradition of the top native workers in all Japan testing themselves against the Gaijin Bruisers. While Misawa had already failed against Hansen the year before, now he had the opportunity to take on a different Gaijin unit, this time with Kawada at his side. In their first title match on February 26, 1991, Kawada would in fact be the difference maker. Towards the end of the match, Gordy would effectively isolate Misawa on the outside of the ring, slamming him onto the concrete and eliminating him from the match. Kawada is left alone in the ring to fend off the Gaijin in a reversal of what happened between him and Tenryu in the 1988 Real World Tag League Finals. As with that match in 1988, the numbers don't lie, and the Gaijin picked up the victory to retain the championships. Misawa would have an opportunity for revenge against Gordy in a singles match on June 1st, nearly a year after his historic victory over Jumbo Tsuruta, and once again in the historic Budokan Hall. Misawa plays the valiant babyface against arguably the number 2 top Gaijin in the company, behind only Stan Hansen. Misawa is able to catch Gordy with a kick to the face that splits him open. Despite Gordy's powerful offense, Misawa is able to nail Gordy with an elbow strike that knocks Gordy down for the 3 count. As we've established before, Misawa's elbow is God. But now we see that Misawa's elbow is also a viable match ender, in addition to his Tiger Driver and Tiger Suplex. By July 24th, Gordy and Williams would once again hold tag gold after losing it briefly to Stan Hansen and Dan Spivey. But with his win in the Budokan, Misawa has guaranteed another chance at the gold for Super Generation Army. Again, the Gaijin utilized their brute strength and size advantage to get the better of Super Generation Army in the early goings of the match. The animosity between Misawa and Gordy continues to simmer. Kawada and Misawa both have opportunities to shine as well, and the line between leader and lieutenant have begun to blur between the two. In the end, Misawa is able to get the roll-up for the 3 count and the victory, earning Misawa and Kawada the World Tag Team Championship. Online, I've seen some criticism for the Miracle Violence collection for their work in 1991. At least in circles I follow, there's a lot of people who find their work this year to be mostly underwhelming. I personally can't really disagree. While there's some time left in the 90s for the NVC to impress, I find them serviceable at best in these 2 matches against Misawa and Kawada. And for the most part, I get it. The MVC are booked to be the Gaijin Bruisers actively working against the dynamic offense that Super Generation Army brought to the table. That is particularly clear in this match, where both Williams and Gordy spend large amounts of the match working wear-down holds on the mat. It just stands out in stark contrast with the energy and heat that Misawa and Kawada bring, especially when they're working against Tsuruta. That being said, I don't think that the MVC were bad. I do think, however, that they're damned by their contemporaries. Gordy and Williams received this strong tag push at a time when Super Generation Army and Tsuruta were setting the world on fire in both singles and tag matches, and neither Gordy nor Williams could really deliver on that level, at least in these outings. That's not an indictment on Gordy and Williams, however. Most wrestlers in the world would look a little underwhelming when you're working in the same company as Misawa, Kawada, Tsuruta, and the rest. When it comes to the Miracle Violence Connection versus Misawa and Kawada series of matches, I'd say that these are more for completionists who want to get a vibe for the development of the stars of Super Generation Army. They're not essential viewing, but who knows, your mileage may vary and you might like them better than I did. Sound off below in the comments if you're a bigger fan of these matches than I am, and let us know what you guys saw in them. And that brings us to the match we've come to discuss for today. Once again, we find ourselves in the main event at Budokan Hall. For the first time, Super Generation Army come to the match with the upper hand. Misawa and Kawada are the reigning and defending World Tag Team Champions. Their opponents for the night, the Triple Crown Champion Jumbo Tsuruta and Akira Taue. Familiar enemies for sure, but this will be their first 2-on-2 confrontation since the Real World Tag League back in 1990. When it comes to their 2-on-2 rivalry, Misawa and Kawada have the upper hand against Tsuruta. Jumbo and Taue as a team have never defeated Misawa and Kawada, who hold a time limit draw as well as a Real World Tag League victory over Tsuruta. This will be their third 2-on-2 match, and you can bet that Jumbo and Taue want to even the score and take away the World Tag Team titles. The match begins with Kawada and Taue reigniting their rivalry. After a fairly standard lockup, Taue slaps Kawada against the ropes, lighting up the intense hatred that we've seen blossom between these two. When Misawa steps into the ring, however, we see Tsuruta-gun's game plan for the match. Attack Misawa's shoulder. Earlier in the tour, Misawa injured his shoulder, one of many injuries that Misawa would have to endure this year. Unfortunately for Misawa, Tsuruta have scouted out that injury in their warm-up matches, leading to this title defense. Even with a few strikes, Misawa is visibly protective of his shoulder when going against Taue. But Misawa's not someone you can just put down. Even with a bad shoulder, he still has the ability to knock Taue down to the floor where Kawada can beat him down into the concrete. Jumbo tags in, and while Misawa isn't afraid to play the aggressor, Jumbo also uses any opportunity to target Misawa's shoulder. Kawada tags in an attempt to take some heat off of Misawa, and though we've seen that he's not afraid to take the fight to the ace, Jumbo is still able to isolate Kawada in Tsuruta-gun's corner. From here, we see a fairly standard southern tag formula kick in as Tsuruta and Taue make quick tags in order to wear down Kawada. Of note during this segment is how hated Taue has become among the Budokan faithful. Every single time he's tagged in, every time he bends the rules, every time he gets in a cheap shot, Taue is bombarded with a chorus of boos from the Budokan faithful. A spinning heel kick to Taue allows Kawada to tag in Misawa, who dives in with a gorgeous diving elbow on Taue for the 2 count. As soon as Jumbo tags in, however, the ace goes right for Misawa's bad shoulder, nailing an arm breaker. Even as his arm is tortured, Misawa still tries to elbow Jumbo into oblivion. It doesn't work. And at this point, Jumbo has battled Misawa long enough to have scouted out his offense, allowing him to isolate Misawa for a Tsuruta-gun beatdown. At this point, Misawa becomes the Ricky Morton of the match, cornered and battered by Tsuruta-gun. Jumbo continues the onslaught on Misawa's shoulder, driving it right into the steel barricades at ringside and locking in a cross arm breaker in the ring. A suplex countered into a gorgeous DDT, however, gives Misawa just enough time to tag in Kawada, who plays the House of Fire hot tag brilliantly by taking the fight to Jumbo. Jumbo nails 2 kitchen sink knee strikes to the gut to halt Kawada's momentum, but Taue is unable to keep the ball rolling. Kawada is able to nail Taue with a short arm lariat and even a falling elbow drop reminiscent of his mentors, Genichiro Tenryu. Unfortunately for Kawada, his tag partner is preoccupied on the floor, getting his bad shoulder taped up from the beating it took from Tsuruta. And as we all know, the numbers don't lie, and Tsuruta are once again able to assert dominance. Only when Misawa is able to help bail out Kawada with a fiery series of elbow strikes to Tsuruta are Super Generation Army able to get their groove back. Misawa tags back in, tearing off the bandages on his arm like a boss, and basically being a badass, even nailing Taue with a tiger driver that gets broken up by Tsuruta at 2. Jumbo returns to his wear-down tactics, applying a modified Cobra twist to apply pressure to Misawa's bad shoulder. Kawada attempts a save but gets lariated for his trouble. Taue and Jumbo press their advantage on Misawa with only a few well-timed run-ins from Kawada, saving Misawa from doom. Even then, Jumbo is finally able to nail Misawa with his backdrop suplex, but Misawa kicks out at 2. Jumbo looks for a second backdrop, but Misawa counters and nails an elbow before locking in his face lock. Misawa goes for a splash, but Jumbo cuts him off with a superplex and a folding powerbomb for a 2. Kawada once again runs interference with his Enzui Lariato to get Misawa a 2. Misawa follows up with a German suplex for a 2 before once again grabbing the face lock. Kawada neutralizes Taue and Jumbo finally taps out to the face lock. Misawa and Kawada have been battering Jumbo's head in with elbows and kicks all match long, and the face lock wrenching the jaw was the final straw, ending the match. Tsuruta and Taue again go winless against Misawa and Kawada. This match goes pretty under-discussed in the wider Kings Road narrative. According to CageMatch.net, Meltzer rated it 4 stars out of 5, which I think isn't quite giving it the credit it deserves. I can see why this match gets lost in the shuffle though. This same pairing of teams has been done better at other points, but I really enjoyed the fact that they took a new approach to their story, with Misawa really having the odds stacked against him in this match with the bad shoulder. It's this kind of variety in matches that makes revisiting the earlier days of Kings Road quite interesting to me. For me, I think this is a bit of a hidden gem that doesn't quite get its due. Check it out. 4.5 stars for me. This match would be Misawa and Kawada's only title defense before vacating the titles before the Real World Tag League Finals as per tradition, thus leaving them undefeated in this reign with the World Tag Team titles. Despite Tsuruta loss, Jumbo still stands tall at the top of All Japan with the Triple Crown Championship in his grasp. He's already felled the top Gaijin in Stan Hansen to win the belt, and then his most dogged challenger in Misawa to retain it. But another challenger awaits in the wings. Someone who's been taking the fight to Jumbo all year and has drastically improved in both ability and position in the company within just a year's time. Someone is coming to put Jumbo's title in danger. Thank you to everybody who's been supporting this channel and the Walking the Kings Road series. This will be my last major video of the year, and you guys have been absolutely amazing with all your feedback and the love you guys are sharing with me for these matches. So if you guys enjoy what I do and you want to support the channel in another way, you can go to my Ko-fi page. That's at ko-fi.com/Joseph Montecillo. You can leave a one-time donation or become a monthly subscriber to get your name into the end credits of a video. If not, then you can help out by liking the video, commenting below, and sharing it with all your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to see whenever a new video drops. You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you for supporting me throughout 2019. You guys are wonderful. Have a good one.